Hi there, I'm Céline Degrève. I'm CEO and innovation expert at Yumana. Today, I'm going to talk about a key topic, community engagement. We hear about it a lot, but what does it really mean? Why do some communities become active while others fade away? And most importantly, how do we keep people engaged over time? Let me be honest with you, building internal communities in a company that really work is not easy. But the good news is that there are best practices, methods, and tools to help you reach your goals and avoid classic pitfalls. In this video, I will share with you simple steps, concrete examples, and levers you can activate right away. So first, let's start with the basics. Building a community is not just creating a chat group or channel on your internal social network. A community is a group of people gathered around a shared goal who interact regularly and, most importantly, who take part and contribute. What makes it alive is not technology, it's the shared will to move forward, solve problems, and spread useful ideas that have real impact. One of the most common mistakes is starting with tools. You open a digital place, send a newsletter, plan a monthly meeting, but that's not enough. For a community to emerge, and more importantly to last, you must rely on 3 pillars: a clear intention, a collective dynamic, and a tangible personal benefit for every member. So, how do we do this in real life? The first step is to clarify the purpose. Why do we want to build this community? Which challenge is it addressing? And most importantly, if it didn't exist, what would be missing? This gives meaning and makes it legitimate. Next, you need to bring the right people together. Not necessarily the most famous or the highest in the org chart, but those who have energy, motivation, useful experience, or real connection with the field. They are the ones who will carry key roles: facilitators, ambassadors, contributors. And these roles must be recognized, supported, and valued. A strong community also needs regular rhythm, a tempo, habits, and regular moments to meet. Moments to reconnect, share, and produce together. It can be webinars, co-development sessions, internal challenges. The key is regularity and the value perceived by members at each interaction. And that brings us to a key point: animation. The myth is thinking that a community will grow by itself. To avoid going in the wrong direction, make sure you have dedicated people to keep it alive. One or several community managers whose role is to create connection, for example, detect weak signals, surface ideas, and connect the right people at the right time. They are the ones who nurture trust, recognition, and above all, the desire to contribute. One last essential point is connect your community to the business. It must surface ideas, issues, useful practices, and generate value for the company. And for that, you must give it the means: time, tools, and managerial support. You can't ask employees to engage for free without recognition or structure. So engagement must be valued, and it's a real strategic choice you have to make. Sharing should not be seen as a waste of time, but as a lever for collective performance. On employee engagement, you will hear just about everything and its exact opposite. So today, we're going to clarify. I will talk about 4 common misconceptions, and I will show you why they don't hold. Myth number 1: motivation can't be controlled. I would say instead that motivation can be forced. but it can be built. There are concrete levers you can activate to transform today's passive audience into genuinely engaged contributors. There is no magic recipe, of course, but you can create the right conditions that make people want to be part of the community. Myth number 2. Employees will naturally engage because it's part of their job. Of course, this is false. A work contract is not enough. Engagement is voluntary, it's emotional, and it's personal. You must build a value proposition that makes people want to get involved. Everyone needs a personal benefit, recognition, or reward. So quickly consider which types of individual rewards you will offer to your community. The myth number 3. Good communication is enough to engage an audience. Communication is useful. I would even say it's necessary. It attracts and sparks interest. But alone, it's not enough if you want a sustainable engagement and repeated participation. To achieve this, you must design a real experience, provide value, recognition, and meaningful interactions. And the last misconception: what worked elsewhere will work for us. Yes, I know, it's tempting to copy what works, but every company is unique, with its own culture, rituals, and dynamics. Copy-paste without adaptation has very little chance of succeeding. To build sustainable engagement, you must start from your reality, understand your levers, and build something that reflects your organization. Now that we have clarified the essentials to define before launching a community, I recommend asking yourself what type of community you want to build. There are several types, and each one has a different purpose. The first major category is communities of practice. This is probably the most common form. Members share a profession, skills, or domain of expertise. The goal is to share knowledge, learn from each other, and upskill everyone. Typical examples include communities of buyers, project managers, quality technicians, and internal trainers. Their strength lies in deep expertise. The second type is communities of interest or engagement. Here, what links people is not their job, but a shared cause, idea, or topic. Examples include sustainability, diversity, workplace well-being, or innovation communities. These communities are often very dynamic because they are fueled by the desire to move things forward. Members can come from all departments, and their strength is diversity. And finally, communities of action. They are groups focused on execution and implementation. They don't just share or exchange, they act, they experiment, they deploy, and they measure. These communities are usually structured around projects. They mobilize members ready to move from discussion to execution, often in the field, for example, of innovation or transformation. What's important to understand here is that no type is better than the other. It all depends on your goal. So before launching, ask yourself the right question. Why this community? For whom? To achieve what? And only then ask how. When trying to engage people in a community, we think strategy, governance, tools, but sometimes we forget the essential, the human motivation. At Yumana, we first explored the SCARF model. SCARF is an acronym. It represents 5 fundamental pillars of engagement. It's a model developed by David Rock, and it's very important to understand why people sometimes engage or don't. To help you create an environment that fosters engagement, I will take a few minutes to go through the 5 keys of the model. Let's start with S. S for status. It's the need for recognition. In a community, everyone needs to feel that they have a role, that they are useful, and that their contribution is valued. If I share an idea and it's reused, if I'm asked for my opinion, if I'm identified as a reference on a topic, then I feel recognized. And I want to keep going. And if I feel invisible or ignored, my motivation will disappear. So as a facilitator, visibility matters. Highlight contribution and show that they count. C stands for certainty. It is the need for clarity and structure. We need to understand where we are going, what are the community's objectives, what is expected from me, what is the value for my contribution. When rules are unclear or changed without explanation, it creates insecurity. And our brain does not like that. It shifts into defensive mode. To avoid it, set a clear direction. Explain rituals, roles, and deadlines. Reassure and provide structure. A is for autonomy. We all need to feel in control and able to act freely. In a community, engagement is stronger when members can suggest, decide, and take initiative, and not just execute. Engagement can't be forced. And this is even more true with creative or highly autonomous profiles. R stands for relatedness. In other words, human connection. We engage more when we feel connected to others, when there is trust. I would say it's not a nice to have, it's really a must have. It creates opportunities to get to know each other. Informal moments, simple exchanges, and that is what transforms a group of individuals into a real collective. And finally, F stands for fairness. Fairness or equity. If I feel that rules are not the same for everyone, that some are favored, or that my efforts are not recognized like others, I disengage. We are all wired to detect injustice. So be transparent, be fair, and above all, be consistent. So to summarize, SCARF is status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. 5 powerful levers to create an environment that supports engagement. 5 psychological dimensions that open the door to involvement. So when you lead a community, ask yourself these 5 questions. Am I valuing my members? Are the rules of the game clear? Do they have autonomy? Do they feel connected to others? And does everything feel fair? If you can answer yes to all, you have a community with real potential. And above all, you are building the foundations for a strong and sustainable dynamic. The SCARF model is a good start, but at Yumana, we wanted to go a bit further and draw from neuroscience, more specifically from the work of Sébastien Boller, author of The Human Bug, which I strongly recommend. In his book, he explains that our brain is driven by a key area, the striatum, which influences behavior through a reward system. He highlights that humans tend to continuously and exponentially satisfy 5 main needs: eating, reproducing, gaining power, acquiring information, and providing minimal effort. If we transpose his work to the business world, this reveals 4 motivation levers that, when used properly, capture and sustain employees' attention and willingness to participate. First lever, recognition. We commit when we can gain visibility and social recognition. In a community, showcasing contributions, highlighting members, quoting them, valuing them, this is a real driver. The second lever is access to information. Our striatum consistently and constantly seeks information to survive or to evolve in social hierarchy. In a community, members are more likely to engage if it gives them access to information they couldn't get elsewhere. The third lever is competition. games, challenges, comparison, all strongly activate the brain, introducing a level of gamification that, as long as it serves a positive purpose, stimulates engagement. And the fourth lever is tangible rewards. We also like receiving something concrete. This could be a gift card, a training, access to an event, or even a financial bonus. It's the simplest and most effective way to boost engagement. These four levers, recognition, access to information, competition, and tangible rewards, are those that most strongly activate the striatum and so individual motivation. And combining them with a community approach is what allows you to maintain momentum over time. But to orchestrate all of this, you need a suitable collaborative platform. It enables visible rankings, exclusive content, member recognition, and reward management. Without such a tool, you can't scale properly community engagement or capture the value the community creates. Providing you with a digital solution to build and develop your communities efficiently is the core business of Yumana, so feel free to contact us to request a demo. Now, to know whether you are ready to launch a community, the Yumana team compiled a checklist of essentials for you. First, have you already identified your champions? A first group of motivated and recognized employees ready to embark with you. They are the ones who will set the tone, inspire others, and give credibility to your approach. Next, do you know the motivation levers that will work in your organization? Because not all environments react the same way. Some respond to recognition, others to challenges or rewards. You must know which buttons to push. The third point is, do you have a dedicated community manager? Someone with real allocated time, not just 2 hours a week between meetings, but someone dedicated to promote, follow up, organize, and highlight. The fourth key element is management support. Is your leadership aligned, involved, and advocating for your initiative? The fifth point is the topic truly relevant now? If you want to engage employees, the chosen theme must matter to them, make sense, and allow them to contribute concretely. Then, have you defined a clear framework? Rules and modalities must be transparent, explained, and shared from the beginning. Rules should not change along the way because it generates frustration and disengagement. And next is your setup paced over time. Are there animation, rewards, and key moments to structure community life? And finally, last but not least, do you have a collaborative platform to bring it all to life? A tool to centralize contribution, manage interaction, and highlight action. This is your hub, your control center. You now have the keys to build sustainable community engagement inside your organization. You know the fundamentals, the psychological levers, the types of communities, and the success conditions. So set strong foundations, surround yourself with the right people, and most importantly, dare to experiment. And if you need help structuring, leading, or managing your communities, at Yumana, this is our core mission. We are here to help you take action. If you like this content, feel free to like, comment, and share your suggestion. And see you soon for another video.